Hey, it's Aaron, the Metal Theologian. And Davis is live, and I was watching him, but like he and these guys are talking about fucking gear and shit, and that shit's boring. So support to the channel, but we're just gonna like make our own video here. And there are a couple of interesting things I have to talk about today. I'm not even sure like how to sort of package this one. You know, this is kind of impromptu. It's like it's the video is built around the stories rather than the stories being built around the records. You know. Anyway, this record, you can help me decide what I think about it, because this is only the second time I've played it, and I'm a little bit on the fence, okay? So, this is actually kind of an ordinary soda. This is a plain old Virgil's root beer, but you know something? I had a taste for root beer over the weekend, and I couldn't get one. I was actually really sick over the weekend, man. I got a booster shot. Actually, I got a booster shot and a flu shot. My wife thinks it was the flu shot because I've reacted to flu shots before. I never did do a COVID shot. But fucking, I was like up all night Saturday night with chills and shit. It was really pretty bad. So, anyway, this is Virgil's handcrafted root beer. I really swear by the ones that come in the bigger bottles. That they have some like special name or something, and they have a weird cap. Those are sublime. That's like one of the best root beers I've ever had. But this is totally serviceable. When I was sick, I had a hankering, though, is what I was saying. We didn't really have any in the house. And my wife was at one of those, at a fast food place with a soda fountain. I was hoping to get some there. And she brought me one, but it was kind of watery, you know? And this is a very good root beer, you know? I mean, this really is a step above, like, a Barks, and I really like Barks. I think Barks is probably the best of, like, you know, the canned sort of, you buy them in a 12-pack root beers. But this is not like redefining the parameters of what a root beer can be, you know what I'm saying? It's a very good root beer though. It is pretty tasty. It's funny, I feel like I could stand for it to be a little bit more syrupy even than it is. But I'm not sure if that's just my palate like wanting more because of the watery experience the other day. Anyway, so this is Vision, apparently. I don't really know this record, but I sent away for a record from from Boone's Overstock, specifically for this. Now, if you're regular viewers of this channel, you're going to know that I'm a total sucker for Jesus music. And this recent reissue, actually, I enthusiastically recommend. First of all, you know something here, I'm going to tear the shrink off now so you all can see it better. Look at that. That's for you, Eric Weinbender. So look at that. I mean, dude, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is that? The answer is, it's an easy 10. Like, this is like the definition of what a 10 is. So I already pretty much needed this, but like, I kind of heard of this vaguely, probably more because of the cover than anything, I'll be honest. But not only is this a great, like, Jesus music record, from 1972, you know, it has that sort of folky, almost like sort of churchy side to it that, you know, we love in like, you know, that Search Party, Montgomery Chapel record, or the Holy Ghost Reception Committee and shit like that. But there are a couple songs on here that actually kind of rock. And I was listening to it while I was doing something else, so I can't like name the songs for you right off. But, in fact, I should put this on in a minute. Anyway, very highly recommend. They're called Rainbow Promise. Okay, and you'll recognize it when you see it, you know. And originals are rare and expensive, so Retroactive redid this. You can get it from Boone's Overstock. I'm very happy to see it in print. So anyway, when I sent away for that, he threw this one in too. And this is this is from '84. And the first time I played this, okay, so you know it's a Jesus record, right? But this is okay. When I first put this on, my first like fully formulated thought about it was, God damn, has my hostility towards AOR music softened over the years? Because I don't know, man. I mean, I'd be lying if I said this is like my new favorite thing, you know what I mean? If you're into this kind of music, I mean, you can hear it. If you like this kind of AOR, then it's fantastic. I really like this record, though. I'm really enjoying this, so we're going to let it run a little bit. Mountain in the sky. Piano part makes me think of Billy Joel for some reason. I don't know. So anyway, he was part of the original impetus for the video. So my wife is like, I don't know, has a headache or is like feeling achy after a workout or some shit like that. Actually, I do know what's going on. I'm deliberately being vague. I know what's going on with my wife. But anyway, I was playing this record, okay? And I actually pulled this one out because people say a lot of good things about this record. Like, this is clearly one of the more highly regarded Slayer records, you know? And the only reason it's not in the top 2 or so is because they made so many great records. Anyway, I've always liked this record, but I've never, like, fully assimilated it the way I have the first 4. So I kind of pulled this out to the end of, like, you know, playing a little bit more, you know what I mean? So, anyway, though, I was playing this, my wife was feeling a little bit shitty, and, you know, she listens to metal all the time. So, like, for her to, like, she never asked me to take off records, okay? Like, if she has a headache or whatever, she's as used to it as whatever, you know what I mean? She's not like a metal fan, but it totally doesn't bother her. But this record, she was like, do you mind, I hate to ask, but do you mind, like, taking this off and putting on something a little less, and I said, I don't know, frenetic? And she was like, yeah, maybe that's it. And I thought about it for a while, I was like, you know, that thing that was bothering you about it is exactly why I wanted to listen to this record. That's why I know exactly what you're talking about, even though I'm not quite sure what the word is. And I really think that's the genius of, it's not even on all Slayer records. You really hear it on Rain and Blood, you hear it on South of Heaven, and you really hear it on this one. There are certain things about it, like part of it is like how during the breaks and shit, when they do one of those things that the guitar's going, or there's one instrument going and then like they all go boom, boom, you know, before they go to the whole thing, that those are turned up so high so they really punch, you know what I mean? Like a ton of little things like that probably are more like deep in the production weeds, and so I don't know the first thing about that shit anyway, but it's funny that like Slayer is so recognizable that like there can be something ephemeral about it like that is still so clear and manifests in such a concrete way that my wife and I can have a conversation about it without knowing quite what to call it. You know what I mean? And that's one more reason, in case you needed one, why Slayer is one of the greatest bands ever. And I definitely haven't fully assimilated this to the degree that I plan to, but I just want to say that Dead Skin Mask, that's a really fucking good song. That's probably the best song on the record. No, I'm joking. I've heard there have been a couple people, I don't know, a couple independent conversations where people have been like going off on the song Dead Skin Mask, so I don't even remember right off the top of my head who it was, but whoever it was, I was fucking with you just now. So, yeah, it's really good. I don't know, I'll talk more about it when the time comes. Alright, so we're going to listen to a little bit of Rainbow Promise. And it's funny because I'm going to show at least 1 or 2 more metal records. So, we'll just keep that incongruity going. Actually, here's another record before we get back on the metal. I want to talk about Blue Oyster Cult a little bit more. Because, you know, I just recently got into Agents of Fortune. You know, I kind of avoided that record for a long time because I never really thought it was all that great. But what kept me from, like, really sort of giving it the time that I spent with, like, the first 3 records is that it had that song on it. You know what I mean? And it was, like, the fucking hilarious cowbell joke and shit. It's just, I just couldn't stand to hear that for a long time. But just within the last year or so, I've come to realize not only that song is actually really fucking good, but that whole fucking album is just awesome. It really is. And so I pulled out Spectres. And I was kind of hoping that I'd respond to it the same way, especially because I really like that live album from the early 80s, ETL Live, I think it's called. And, you know, that one has a lot of songs from the first few records on it. It's well represented, but it definitely has some of the other shit too. I mean, it has Don't Fear the Reaper, and it has Godzilla, kind of obviously, but You know, there are a couple other songs from here, like Are You Ready to Rock? And there are a few others that I don't really know, so they're probably off Mirrors or whatever. So I figured, let me give this record another chance, you know? And this record, overall, I'll listen to it again before I put it away, okay? But, like, it really feels like a pretty big step down from Agents of Fortune anyway. And if there's one case in point, it's the fucking song Going Through the Motions. Because that is just such awful mid-70s pap. I mean, this record's 77. It sounds every bit as burned out as this kind of rock and roll was generally in 77 anyway. You know? Are You Ready to Rock isn't a very good song either. There were a few songs on here that weren't great, but that one was almost like offensive. And it's not even because it was such a terrible song, you know? Because if you compare it to like 10 other bad 70s songs, this one's no better or worse than any of them, you know what I mean? But I don't know, man, it just feels like such a blight. It just feels like such an admission of defeat on this record, you know? So, I don't know, tell me if you think differently, but I don't know. I don't know how many people have as complicated a relationship with Blue Oyster Cult as I do. So my relationship with them isn't really all that complicated. I just think they have bad records and good records. It's a little bit complicated though because some of the bad records I really want to like. Like I really want to like Cultosaurus Erectus, you know? I just think it's a fucking turd, man. Every fucking time I put that thing on, it sucks. You know what I mean? And I go, oh, maybe next time won't be so bad. And then it sucks all over again. It just chaps my nuts like that. But not this. Great. All right. So here are a couple more. Actually, I don't have a whole lot to say about this one, but I'm going to show it. Just a little shout out to Cosmic Brian, to whom I want to make sure you subscribe on the Cosmic Vinyl channel. Like I'm going to come and check or something, right? But it's a great channel, a really fun guy to watch. And like his love for the music just really comes through. And to me, that's the most important thing in a channel. You know what I mean? It's like you can sit here and you can look shit up in Wikipedia and you can talk about these things, you know what I mean? But when that love really comes through, that's when a channel's special, you know? Anyway, so he's been obsessed with Spiny Norman for like the last month. And after hearing him talk about it like 4 or 5 times, I mean, not quite that many, but 2 or 3 for sure. I went ahead and pulled it out. I've played it like once or twice. It's a great record, and it's a weirdo record. It's just, it was recorded in 78, 79, but it's completely anachronistic. I mean, it almost sounds like they just like discovered like some synthesizers and shit, and I don't even know. It's like 2 guys. I don't even know what they're playing really. There's like some story behind them, but I don't know. Brian will tell you about that shit. Cosmic Brian. But it's a weird sounding record for sure, and it's really good. A couple of records I busted out though that are I've heard a lot of people talk about. This one notably by Marty Worm. Unless I'm really mistaken, so I apologize if I'm misattributing here, Marty, but as I recall, Marty has said some really good things about this record, and I didn't really thought that much about it, or thought that much of it, so I figured it was time to give it another chance. And honestly, I still think it's kind of ordinary, you know? It's tight, it sounds alive, which is important, you know what I mean? It doesn't have any, from the production standpoint, I'm not going to say it's the greatest produced thing ever, but it sounds alive, you know what I mean? And, but I just feel like it's ordinary, man. Like, the songs just all kind of sound the same, and it kind of bleeds together. You know, like, the singer is, like, one of the sort of, like, high sort of wailing singers, which is great. I mean, I love that kind of singing generally, but there's, like, no contrast. It's like he just sort of hangs out there, just, like, wailing on top, and the whole thing feels like it bleeds together for me, so I'm gonna listen to it some more, because I really want to like this record. But, you know, sometimes it takes me 20 years before I realize I really like a record, so it'll be a good payoff for the long-term subscribers, you know, if it takes me another 10 years. Here's another one, actually, I just want to show real quick to shout out Eric Bauer, because he actually brought me this when he when he came out a few weeks ago. And I hope you're subscribed to his channel as well. But this record is fucking fantastic. I just don't, I haven't really figured out what to say about it because I don't know any of these bands except for Tor. You know, I suppose I could look it up, but that's no fun, right? There's like nothing to glean from this though, and like I don't feel like I've digested this shit well enough to start like talking about this band or that band. Overall though, man, this fucking rock Mappa comp, and I think there were a few of these, but this appears to be the first one from '89. Fucking fantastic, dude. This is so good. Better than most of the Hungarian, like, just regular records, you know what I mean? This is probably more fun to listen than either of the first two Funkadelic LPs. And that's kind of blasphemous if you're, you know, in certain circles. And I really like Funkadelic, right? But, I think that record's probably less of a slog than parts of those albums are. Here's another one I pulled out, though, too. Also gotten a lot of hype. And I've really come to appreciate this record more. Back in the day, I don't know, I thought they were silly or something. I don't know, I had some dumb teenage reason for not liking them, which, in retrospect, I wonder if maybe making dumb rules about what I would and wouldn't tolerate had more to do with, like, being parsimonious with my money than, like, my actual taste, you know what I mean? Sort of on a psychological level, but it's kind of neither here nor there. Anyway, this singer is very punky for my taste. And that's a little bit hard for me to put aside. But putting that to one side, the songs are fantastic. They're really good. And they're like interesting, they change a lot. Like, it rewards repeated listens, I think. I say that after only like maybe 3 listens total, but like it leaves me wanting to listen to it again. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think I'm really coming to appreciate this record. I know there are people who really like the second record, too. It's been a long time since I've seen one of those around. So, you know, I don't love this one so much yet that I'm willing to force the issue, if you know what I mean. But, you know. Yeah, anyway. That's really about all I've got. Let's see what else I have here to talk about. There's got to be something. There's a copy of the first Nasty Savage sitting here I was thinking about bringing up. But I love this record, but I haven't played it in a while. But if you watched Marty's stream last Friday night, they were talking about Nasty Savage. And opinions were a little bit more mixed on this one than I expected them to be, let's say. So, in the spirit of standing up for a record that I really like a lot, but tend to forget about because they're called Nasty Savage, you know. Yeah, in that spirit, it got pulled out and it's gonna get played. Yeah. Here's another one. I actually haven't put this on yet, but I was probably going to relatively soon. I was just hyping this one to Eric Bauer. Apparently there's a new Eddie Hazel record. That's actually the impetus for this. I didn't know about that. I just sort of found out through what you might call the VC grapevine. Except the VC is dead, so like it must be going through like the mycelium in the soil or something like that. Yeah, this Funkadelic record, this is actually licensed. It's on Tidal Waves Music and it says it's licensed from Westbound, so this isn't even one of those boots that's kind of been kicking around for like, you know, the AC/DC and the Kiss records and that shit that you people show. But this is just a show from 1971, Funkadelic. So prime era, like standing on the verge of getting it on, even, you know. I mean, shit, it's 71. That one was like 74, I think. Is that right? So it's not even close. Definitely like a rockin' record, very soulful, you know. And I see where you can call it funk, but this is really like a rock record, like a really jammy, like really psychedelic space rock record, man. You know. Like the MC5, they sort of talk about listening to Sun Ra, and I kind of go, yeah, sure, okay. But these guys talk about listening to Sun Ra, and I believe them. You know what I'm saying? Great fucking record. It's really, if you like early Funkadelic, and you wish that there were more records that sound like those first 3 because there just aren't anymore, this is as close as you're likely to find, you know, across most of the universe. Yeah, so let's see. I think that's really about it. Yeah. Talk about that shit and flip a little bit of shit at Davis. So I'm probably actually going to go back to watching now. So, all right, support to Davis, and thanks for watching. Until next time.